Motivation, drive, incentive, impulse. Think of a clock. When someone looks at a clock, he or she most likely just checks the time briefly and continues on with their day. However, we intend to delve deeper. Every clock has a cog, a catalyst, an impetus. These cogs are what make these clocks tick and provide them with the constant motion they require to carry out their perpetual function. In this sense, we, as citizens, as workers, and especially as students, are all clocks. We each have our own inclination to do things, whether it be interior or influenced by an exterior force. We each have our own cogs that make us tick and assist us in carrying out tasks and working efficiently. The question is, what are they? What are these forces? Why does the average American student wake up every morning? These are the big questions, and our goal is to find answers.
Felix Varela Senior High School, one of the many schools located in Miami, Florida, holding over 3,000 students that come from various cultural backgrounds. This is going to show how students as a whole are motivated to succeed. So first, we are going out to ask teachers how they feel about what motivates a student to succeed.
Yeah? Alright, so what motivates students? I think that what motivates students, usually you have to have an energetic teacher. Obviously the topic helps if the topic is something that is intriguing or interesting to students. But if you have a well-prepared teacher, somebody who prepares lessons and does a good job of kind of thinking of how it will be received on the other end, then generally you can motivate students on certain topics. And of course, everybody has their own individual interests. So if you love science, then you'll be interested in labs and doing experiments. But teaching history doesn't exactly motivate or excite unless it's something that's something you really enjoy coming in. So it takes, I think, a good teacher to motivate kids. You have to be passionate about the topic, and these things tend to translate into teaching. And if it comes across well and is presented well, then for the most part, kids will be receptive to it.
So I think there's a variety of things that influence kids and motivate kids to do better in school. I think number one, definitely family and community. It plays a big part, I think especially in certain cultures, there's a level of expectation of what kids should do when they're in school. Secondly, I think their personal future plans, what do you see yourself in the next 10 years? I think that also guides a lot of how successful kids are going to be. There's definitely peer pressure. I think there's a lot of research that shows who you hang around with determines how successful you're going to be. Are you going to want to do your schoolwork? Are you going to go to school if your friends are or aren't doing so?
So the motivation factor, a lot of it has to do with how kids are raised and what they're taught to believe in and strive for. And a lot of these kids just don't have any motivators. And as a teacher, you just try and motivate the best way you know possible. Congratulating them, giving them grades, and then see what they're strong at and just kind of like praising them for doing something good. But sometimes that doesn't work, and you spend a lot of time trying to find out what it is that motivates a kid, and that's part of the tough job that we have.
After the strong responses we received from these teachers, we went to students themselves to ask what motivates them to do well in school.
Well, what motivates me is more of the challenge of working hard. I've never really been the one to get good grades. I've always been more of like I want to get it right. I really enjoy that high of being right, knowing better than other people. Well, my parents kind of motivate me, not to the point where I have to motivate myself, but they do want me to keep good grades, but they also want me to get smart, but not maybe not genius smart or Sir Isaac Newton smart.
What motivates me to do well in school is the fact that I have to get ready for college and prepare myself to start my career and what I actually like to do and what I want to study. which is something to do with photography or graphic design. And this is, high school is like a stepping stone to get to what I want to do. So I have to do well so I can get into a good school and a school that will help me in my career.
My mom, she is the one that pushes me. She's always checking up on my grades. She's always telling me what you got on the test and such. And she also helps me with homework and stuff like that. And she's always pushing me to learn new things. And I thank her for that.
Now, when we were interviewing the students, one of them told us how their parents would get them to work. Sadly, it's not the most passive way to handle things, but he allowed us to recreate 2 events of his life. This is it.
hacer tu tarea. Hace tu tarea ahora. Ahora. Chris, apaga la televisor.
Ok, yo lo apago. Por favor, mami.
Oye,
Dame un chance.
mami, nada.
Mami,
Hace tu tarea.
Yo tengo buen grado y...
Esta es la última vez. Hace tu tarea.
Dame un solo ahorita, mami, por favor.
¡Hace tu tarea, Chris!
Oh, man. I am so tired. I'm just gonna take a nap and... Wait a minute. Is that... No. Please, it can't be. Oh, please. Oh, it's a failure notice. I gotta hide before Mom sees. Come on.
Chris, no!
When we saw how a form of motivation has been practiced, we started asking ourselves questions. Is fear something that moves people to work? Is it a major motive? Why hasn't anyone brought this up? These are the questions that keep arising. Now, the results.
To find out motivators of our target research group, we conducted surveys which consisted of 21 questions answered by 40 students of varying ages, grade levels, and academic stature. This resulted in multiple outcomes. As many as different motivators were mentioned by these students. Out of the students we surveyed, 72% claimed to be self-driven, while the other 28% is driven by extrinsic factors. Parental guidance has also proven to be a major factor in academic success, as 70% of those surveyed have mentioned their parents playing a significant role in their growth and achievements as students. Comparatively, 17% of those interviewed have significant others that have also played a role in ensuring their academic success. However, the opposite is true, as 8% have stated their partner's presence has been a distractor, averting their attention from schoolwork. Additionally, sports like football and role models such as Kanye West and Steve Jobs have been major factors in keeping grades up and charging through the difficult times, and combined total of 97% of surveyed students.
We set out with a purpose, to find out what motivates students. We may not have come up with a solid answer, but we came out with a better understanding of what drives kids. So much happens to a kid that influences his or her actions. So as we go down the road of life, we come to the realization that there is no physically possible way to bring this down to a science. You might say that people are self-motivated, that parents are the main motivator, or even that role models are a large part of motivation. But every time we thought we found an answer, we were left with even more questions.
She's got sword in case, though this is not her lord in case. The one who can't afford to face her image is restored to grace. Disappeared, no trace, musketeer suitcase. The downturned brave little burn cup, bear careless turnip snare rampages, pitch color pages. Down and out but not in Vegas. Disembarks and disengages, no law.